Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hello there. I would have done a podcast for you on Friday, but
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And even on Thursday, but I got interrupted. I'm a Mike interrupted by things in my life that I can't think a word that rhymes with interrupted. I guess I'm kind of flubbed it. I thought I knew words and I don't, cause I'm busted with my word sing stuff.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
On this podcast that's simply called Mike's Daily Podcast because it's daily, or it tries to be. You try and do a
Mike's
You can't handle the truth.
Daily
A daily podcast. It's annoyingly annoying because you got to come up with content every single day. How is that even possible? No one can do that. Don't even tell me you can. Because it's, hey, I love people. I do. I love people, and I guess what happens is, though, sometimes you and I can only process a certain amount of people. Some of us have a low threshold. Some have a huge threshold. Some can I love seeing people. I get really lonely if I don't see 3,000 people a day. And then there are people like me. I love people, but at some point, I'm like, I just want you all to shh up. Go away. Leave me alone. All right? It's Saturday. Why am I getting texts? Let me say that again. It's Saturday. Why am I getting texts? Why can't you figure it out for yourself? Leave me alone! That's all I'm saying. Zalls I'm saying is, give Mike a little space on Saturday. Saturday is Mike's Space Day. Can we have that happen? Can that be like a...
And here's today's podcast picture.
A national type thing? Along with, National Donut Day? I can't tell you what the podcast pick. Don't put this pressure on me. I am going to do a little YouTube video, though, right now. If you'd like to see it, just go to youtube.com/Mike's Daily Podcast. Today, I am wearing the radio station that I used to work for in the mid-O's. Oh, this is before I knew Basil. The late, great Basil. Yes, Basil's like, when are you going to have a picture of me? Have you forgotten about me already? No, Basil the boxer. Have not, will not ever forget about you. And so the podcast picture today, though, I think we'll do of an interesting day where... Nah, I can't tell you right now. You got to just hold on. Hold on. Nothing's the same. Tell me why I feel this way. Yeah. The sun is shining on me, but it's not the normal type sun. It's this filtered through fire smoke sun, which you only get here in California, for we have lots of fires. Come on into California. This is what we got. Come on over. Beautiful sunshine and fires. Come on over. Come here now. Come on. Come here. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that there is this spot that I drive past on my way to work that has a bunch of these wonderful things called deer. And they will come up to you and they will bite your hand off, and there'll be just this bloody stump. No, wait, that's not what happens. There's deer, though. And this is in front of it's the Masonic Lodge? Yes. It is this wonderful area with lots of turkeys. It's beautiful. I pass it every day. I'm so lucky to see this. And, well, what else was I going to talk to you about today on Mike's Daily Podcast other than that fantastic, groundbreaking stuff? Oh, somebody said to me, Mike, You talk about a podcast picture every episode, and I will get to the podcast picture. Please don't put this pressure on me. But it's a podcast. It's an audio podcast. How can they possibly see it? Well, a lot of the places you can listen to this show features the podcast picture. And of course, you can always see the podcast picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. That's why. I still would love to know who texted me a couple days ago. I had a text that somebody sent to me with condolences about Basil and said, hey, you gave him a good life. That's like all you can do is, when you own a dog, is treat them well, take them for walks. And I'm going to actually post a picture. When I post this picture, I'm not actually going to say what this is a picture of, but in this picture, I have actually Basil with me. And you can see that picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com. There's Basil is in, well, let's just say he's in a particular, well, all right, we won't post that picture. Instead, I'm over here by the bay. It's a beautiful sort of windy day. This was a couple weeks ago at Heron Bay. And I'm standing on a rock and there's waves crashing. And, I bet you would not see this view today because the bay is just choked up with fire and smoke. And, all right, I'll tell you what picture I was going to post. My lovely lady friend and I felt after Basil passed away, and he's now in a box. He's cremated. His ashes are in a nice little box, this little wooden box, hand-carved box, and the colors of the grain of the wood harken to his brindle coat that he had, the brown stripes, with the black stripes in the brown background, the darkish brown red. It looks like this box. It's just fascinating how we were able to find this. And we have taken him on a couple of, not many, but a couple of excursions. One up in the Anthony Chabot area of East Bay Regional Park District. We walked with him. It was kind of symbolic. I know. I mean, we were just really, I guess, good dog parents. Yeah, we miss him. So we brought him along with us on that little walk. And he had not been on the walk in that area for years because of the state of his legs that they had deteriorated. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro-Valleyton today. The other place we took him for a walk was over by, actually, in this picture, we were over with him at the Heron Bay and this area near in San Leandro, where San Leandro and Hayward meet the bay. Heron Bay, I guess, is what it's called. It's at the end of Llewellyn. So we walked with him there, and it was like he had not been down to that area in well over a year, possibly even 2 years. So it was sort of like bringing him there. What's a kind? I mean, some people will call that completely crazy and nuts and overly sentimental. What do you think? 336MM Daily, 3 + 3 = 6. MM is in Mike Matthews, Daily isn't what this podcast tries to be. And what would you think about? Have you ever done anything like that? Have you taken the ashes of someone or some being of some sort, a pet, or taken a little relic of that particular person or pet with you somewhere to always remind you? Some people do that. There's like, little, maybe something that someone owned, like your grandmother's ring, and it always reminds you of your grandmother. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's everything right with that, because the human mind needs to process these things. And maybe there is some significance, some supernatural significance to this that we don't know. We can't comprehend with our tiny, puny little minds, Cafe, Cafe Anyway is where we are. Speaking of supernatural, do you know that show has been on the air for 15 years, and they're going to wrap it up? I guess this next season will be the last season. Isn't that interesting? Look who's outside a Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro-Valleyton, the last place on earth. I had a couple of topics to get to today, but I guess one of them had to do with the smoke. Let's see. Oh, haha. There's a lot of, let's just say, our noses in this time of year, when we have all the smoke in the air. I don't know if our noses, with all the stuff that our noses do to process all the stuff in the air. Doing a quick search of it, it's really not that easy to find. I guess you'd have to do a long, mucus and all the stuff that's in your nose to help fight off what you're breathing in. And there's what did I find here? Okay. Clear snot is a sign of a healthy body and that everything is all right. I guess the opposite of that. Ooh, what you don't want is black snot. Something serious is happening. No, really? Thank you, website that has no help whatsoever, helpful use. So, all I'm saying is, my nose lately has been just congested and crazy as heck because of all the stuff in the air. And I can tell it's not anything, it has to do with any kind of sickness. No, it's just my nose and my body trying to process all these particulates. What is the threshold that our noses and our throats and our lungs can take of all this stuff in the air? Oh, and I guess the other thing I wanted to bring up was the Democrat convention. We got the Republican convention next, but the Democratic convention, something like, all right, like there was 80 million people watching it on television, but then with all the replays that people watched, hundreds of millions of people saw that online. And it's a whole new world we're in. Of course, they couldn't do it in front of an audience because of the coronavirus, but in the end, being online and just speaking one-on-one to the camera and not having applause breaks, which you generally have with convention speeches and acceptance speeches when they accept the party's nomination. None of that. It was just talking one-on-one to the camera. And they were able to raise $71 million, the Biden campaign. But it'll be interesting to see how Trump does it in the weeks to come. All right, that's all I had for that. Hey, let's say hi to a couple people outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton today.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. You talked about snot today.
I guess I did. I lowered the bar on today's podcast to be about the same height as most podcasts are. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, maybe it's a good idea to stay inside so you don't breathe all those particulates. Thank you, John Deere, the engineer. So smart. And yes, and just basically repeating what everybody else is saying. But I like to go outside and breathe fresh air. I think being inside too much is also just as bad. You need to vary it up. But I'm not a professional. I don't know. I'm just guessing at these things. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. What do you think about all this? Are you an expert in this field? You can call me 336-MM-DAILY and let me know what you think. By the way, you'll be able to hear me on a Sunday show from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at kkdv.com. It's a little plug there. And with more, you can check out the website, MikesDailyPodcast.com. It's got more details about that. And here's A-Frame to tell you more about that. There you go, that. And that's that.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
And that was episode 2109 You can hear all the past podcasts and check out all the past podcast pictures at MikesDailyPodcast.com.